Blog Talk Radio.
Hey guys, this is Those Guys with your host, Matt Marrero, along with your very dedicated host, Satish Ram.
Hi, I'm dedicated.
You really are, because, we've been a little late with some of these WWE podcasts, although to be fair, Beast in the East, what we're doing right now, did air at 5:30 in the morning. All right.
Right,
so
and I started work on Monday where I have to get up at 5:30 in the morning, so sleep has been essential for me the last week.
Right, and usually we do these a lot later. When we do them live. So we weren't able to do that, and also Monday Night Raw as well. We're going to definitely do Monday Night Raw in the near future before the newest Monday Night Raw. But what matters is that, so I, of course, had to keep you updated because you had work today. Keeping each other updated. And I ended up telling you, I'll keep you posted about 10:30 should be a good time to go live. And then I told other people, hey, so we're going, I didn't make a post about it just yet. I'll be posting right after the show. For some of you who may be, listening to us in the archives, that's why. So I'm like, hey, we're doing this show. Hey, Liz, this is happening. Hey, this is happening, this is happening. Apparently I didn't inform you.
Yeah. And it's really funny because I was like, I think maybe about 25 minutes ago, I was like, hey, so we're not going on, right? Because you didn't give me a heads up. So I go, I'm going to relax. I take a shower. I come out. I look at the phone. We are going on. I'm really sorry. And oh, okay.
No, what's really funny is I said straight out because sometimes, we have been late as hosts or, phones have gone out. Things happen on air, and it's kind of funny, but it'll happen sometimes because, hey, we're live. Right, we don't pre-record these. Sometimes we'll post them a bit later, but these shows are live. So, other than the ones on our Bandcamp account, which is TGOTR.bandcamp.com, those are pre-recorded, right? But Blog Talk Radio, with their live feature, we will do these live. So, mishaps will happen. So, I told you straight out. I said, hey, it's okay. It's okay. And you were like, no, it's not. I'm going in. And here you are.
That's literally, that's what happened. I'm a dumbass, but that's exactly what happened. And I was going to rewatch some of the event, too, so I just laughed because, that didn't work. So here we are.
Yes. So before we're doing a shorter show than usual, most likely. If any of you are watching live, I've noticed that you end up seeing a clock that counts down, as if you will, or counts up. So so it's not going to be a standard 2-hour show because the event itself is 2 hours and just plain wrestling. Now, not plain because the wrestling on this card was actually really good.
Right.
Yes, but no advancing storylines to talk about for the most part. Right, we don't really have to talk about a lot, I would argue. We can talk about a little bit here and there, but I don't think, looking at my notes right now, it's definitely not a standard Monday Night Raw where it's just, hey, where's this going? Where's this going? Oh, or even a pay-per-view where it's just, wow, and then, well, I wonder where this is going because this was a live event. I mean, this was a house show.
Yeah, and
this is what I'd put as a live event.
Yeah, this is kind of refreshing in a way because even when we had something like, when we had our whole Money in the Bank thrown into things out of nowhere a couple of weeks ago, and we had this whole 2-week pay-per-view, 2-week pay-per-view, 2-week pay-per-view thing. Money in the Bank was the actual pay-per-view, but Elimination Chamber, actually, that was the one.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They were treated as, I'm going to say special event because I think that's what they use or whatever, but
but it was still a pay-per-view though.
Right. Compared to this was a glorified house show. And normally when I say glorified X, I use it in a bad sense. But there was just a lot of really solid wrestling on this show.
There was only one thing that you found off-putting, which I disagree, but upon actually watching it, I understand. Because here's the thing, right? Just giving you guys, I actually watched it at 5:30 in the morning.
And I did not.
Yeah, I didn't stay up. I'm sorry, I didn't go. Oh, I was supposed to go. Hey, I'll go to bed and I'll just do it. I'll hit a buzzer or whatever, and I'll be like, oh, I'm awake. No, what happened was I ended up just sitting there thinking I'm doing research or something at 1 a.m. for a lot of other stuff that we plan on doing in the future, and it's just 1 o'clock in the morning. It's just why am I sleeping? So I went upstairs. I got some iced teas. I got some tortilla chips and some cheese dip, and I said, well, this is my night. So I just ate constantly. I think that's the only thing that really kept me awake for a while, just eating while watching Finn Balor's special, which was great, by the way.
I need to watch that desperately, by the way. I haven't got a chance, and I really just want to.
I'm so confused. I was like, no, because the way you left, and you said that, I'm like, is me eating constantly to stay alive and stay awake while watching this? It's just the feed of me watching it. Just this is what you're seeing.
Those are your Olympics, Matthew. That's what I strive to watch you doing. But no, I want to watch the special on Finn really badly. That being
said, very good.
Did that air at 5 a.m.?
Mm-hmm. It aired at 5 a.m.
That's
and
hilarious.
then at 5:30, the event started. And I sat there and I was like, "This is actually the only thing." It was really funny. I texted you and I texted Liz. Sadly, did not test our. I did not text our fact checker.
I knew exactly what you were going to say.
Say that 5 times.
Suddenly combined like 5 words.
Text checker.
Text checker. Fact checker. Maddie.
No, I'm just so mad, though, because apparently our fact checker, Maddie, was watching it live. So I'm sitting here thinking, I need to text someone live, but, Satish, I know you're asleep. I knew Liz was asleep. I hadn't talked to Maddie about the event. I assumed they were asleep. So I'm furious after hearing, oh, no, they were awake.
Yeah, they were live texting me the first half of it, which was fun.
I'm so mad.
Now, live texting, Maddie being live, me being asleep. But...
Yes. Yes. No, it was really funny because, but I did text you and Liz the same exact thing. And it was great because both you and Liz were definitely like, oh, he's going to be asleep, because I said, honestly, I'm probably going to go to sleep. And then it just, something just, switched in me. It was just a switch went off and I was like, no, I'm actually doing this. And so the text was, it's happening. It's happening.
No, and it happened. Now,
yeah.
Before we jump into the matches right away, I want to talk to you about we had some quick discussion on the idea that this was a house show, and
which is obvious, but
and I mean,
more delving into that.
Right. So we had discussion between ourselves on the idea this is a house show, and you can see on the sides of it, it's like WWE Live, so it's a glorified house show, and you I believe had some problem with the promotion of it. Was that right? Am I getting this right?
Well, here's the thing.
I'm not disagreeing
it was weird
with you.
because
I just want to, because I think it's worth talking about.
Because what happened was you were disliking the idea that John Cena was in the main event, understandably so. But I said, hey, it's a house show, so it's okay, right? Because I've been to house shows before where John Cena's been in the main event. I think champion or not, John is in the main event usually, either with Seth Rollins or with Bray Wyatt, something like that, right? The problem I had is that, because it's a normal house show, it really is a little, I don't know how to call it. Okay, it's one of those things where it's a hard in-between kind of thing, where it's just, you want to promote it, but of course it's just a house show, which is fine for me, right? But it's the idea that, in a way, it's as if, okay, I was more going with your point where you were like, why is John in the main event? People are going to think that.
Mm-hmm.
30-minute tag team main event, and it's a house show. But at the same time, right, because of this promotion, some people would say, oh, so we have to change it. We have to stick our hands in and change things and have more title matches. Not even more title matches, more title changes, because there are actually a lot of title matches at house shows. They just never change hands for obvious reasons. More title changes and longer matches and this and this, but I don't want that, because I want it to look as if we are seeing them in their environment, in a house show environment, which is definitely different from a WWE Monday Night Raw or even a WWE pay-per-view environment. And you can tell little things here and there were different.
Right, and it was definitely, for me, it was a really weird in-between. And I understand what you're saying, because they wanted to promote it as a pay-per-view. So then you label it Beast in the East, which is a direct reference to Brock Lesnar. And then Brock isn't main eventing, that's one. And then two, when you give it a label like that, and I love it because I think some of the promos were Beast in the East 2015, and I was just sitting there there's going to be a fucking 2016. Are you trying to tell me that Brock's going to go to Japan again? But no, more importantly, the idea that, if this is going to be a pay-per-view style or a special event and you want to make it more, then the reason I got upset about John main eventing is the idea of we had, and you mentioned this to me. You were like, "Well, we could have the women's match main eventing," which is correct. And
only
I sat there and I was like,
only because
mm-hmm.
you were pushing for Balor and Owens, and I disagree because it's still developmental, no matter what. It's still I saw Sami Zayn and Neville fight for the NXT title, and it wasn't the main event. You know, it's developmental. It is what it is. It's separate from the main product. However, that's why I pushed so hard for the women's match, because that's the only match that was only title that was defended that wasn't the NXT title. So
right,
why not put them in the main event?
Being the main roster, right? So I understand that argument. I still push for Balor Owens because, like, I feel like, okay, we are obviously quote unquote unaware of we don't know the inner workings of WWE. But, like, every rumor in the world basically made it seem like Finn was going to win. And then they gave him a special. So we're sitting here like, they know Finn's going to win. We take him back to Japan, where it's essentially like his homeland of wrestling, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, in my head, there is no better time to put this man in the main event. He's going to win. We all pretty much know it. The crowd is insanely hot for this guy.
I'm mad because now you've given another rhyming pun thing where it's just like, it's like Beast in the East or Finn's gonna win. Like Finn gonna win. Finn gonna win. 2015. He's gonna win next year too? Live in Japan.
He will. Just not live in Japan, most likely.
Finn gonna win.
It's the thing where, like, it really, I guess it just irked me because, like, I like taking advantage of situations, and in my head,
mm-hmm.
you guys went into this event, you guys, not you specifically, but of course, like, referring to WWE, knowing
mm-hmm.
what you were going to do, unless, like, you decided it 5 minutes before the event, and I doubt that heavily
mm-hmm.
because the way it was planned, it felt like Vince had nothing to do with this. That being said, and the way the commentary worked, It felt like Vince was asleep. And so we had this whole thing where they knew Finn was going to win. We're going back to where he's from. The crowd loves him and worships him. Like, you can set this up for, like, a really amazing finish where everyone walks away like, oh, my God. And I don't know if, like, the tag team match completely failed to deliver, but it just, for me,
it didn't fail. It didn't fail at all. It's just, it only failed because of what came before it. Like, arguably, if you want to tell me that a title match should have came before it that would have cooled things down, but that's the thing, it's a house show environment. You don't think about cooling things down. You would have had the Divas match there, which wasn't a cool down, but it was still 7 minutes, I believe, which is as long, as we see on pay-per-views sometimes, a bit longer than we see on Raw, but still a 7-minute match, I believe, versus what we got from Owens and Baylor.
It was a triple threat because Naomi couldn't make it because of the injury, right?
Well, no, it was a triple threat. No, it was a triple threat where Tamina took Naomi's place because
Tamina took Naomi's place because of the fact that Naomi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
correct.
I misspoke, but you knew what I meant. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was short. I agree with you because you just said exactly what was on my mind in the idea of, like, the reason the tag match, if it failed, quote unquote, the only reason it would have failed, is because of what was behind it, and that's the problem to me.
Yes.
The idea, like, yes, I get the value of hindsight and saying, like, wow, that was a good match, and that's why.
I have to be honest though. If Baylor, I keep on saying Baylor, if Balor would have lost,
it's okay.
It would have been house show.
I fuck that up all the time.
It's that simple. But he didn't. Therefore, that's why.
I think
not the only reason why.
That's why I think it should have been the main event. Because
yes, but then I feel like it's too much. I feel like it's too much interfering. Even if it's for the good, quote unquote. It's like, where does it end? And I don't want them to start thinking, how can we make every match count and push everything more?
That's why I like it, because of the fact that, like, not even events like this, right? How often do we go to Japan? And then
but that's what I mean. Events like but that's what I mean. Events like this, like Japan, Germany, the UK, Canada, things like that. They'll do more house shows like that, and I don't want them to think that they are actual pay-per-views, as if we should sit in there and be like, how can we make sure X title changes hands each time, or X amount of titles? Because all of a sudden, a year down the line, we're like, oh, so the house show coming up? You mean the pay-per-view?
No, I don't think it's going to be something like that. But if they back themselves into this corner where they booked it like a pay-per-view in terms of advertising it as well, and that's why I feel like, that's why I'm like, you know what, fucking go through with it then. If you're going to make this seem like a real thing,
well,
then
I would
the
argue.
main event,
Here's what I would have done personally. Well, I would have said this much then, which I know sounds weird because I'm not trying to say that John Cena should be in the main event. I'm saying that if you're trying to say that Ryback couldn't be there because he wasn't there or he was on the night before, I'm not sure which. No, Ryback was not there. He was on SmackDown. So Ryback isn't in Japan. You do have an Intercontinental title. Like, I would have taken either Barrett or Kane or someone against him for the U.S. Like, if you you could have easily had him fight Cesaro, actually. And that could have started their whole line of like, well, why is Cesaro really? You know, I would have done something differently. Like, I would have put Cesaro a bit higher on the card, or I would have put maybe Cena against Ziggler. I know we sort of had good guy already with Neville Jericho. Even though Jericho was working a bit of a heel style, he still wasn't a complete jerk. You know,
I don't
he was
think
just
he worked
cocky
a heel
Jericho.
style at all, honestly. Yeah, he just worked Jericho.
He was more cocky, but,
no, but
I would
liked
argue that compared to what Neville was doing, he was a bit more
yeah,
cocky.
Of course. I really enjoyed that. We'll get to that in a moment. I really enjoyed what they did with Jericho here. But
me too.
Yeah, I
anyway,
think Glorified House Show, and I guess
and I want it to stay that way.
On.
Like, you know, I'm just a little
and
worried
I
that, you know, they start to...
I understand the argument. The idea of, like, well, now we're going to Germany. Let's make it, like, some kind of German special, like, live special show. And I'm like, no.
Brock in the bratwurst. It's just, I don't
thinking
want
of, like,
that.
It just reminded me of, like, every bad concert pun and every, like, bad boxing name thing. The Thriller in Manila. The Rumble Down Under. Stop, guys. Just fucking stop and give me the boxing match. I don't fucking care.
You know what I would do? I would completely fuck it up, just entirely. Just the German Inferno. What? Like, what do you... I'm, like, what?
I can't believe you just said that on air.
No, I'm saying just, like, really stupid, they don't make sense at all, just...
That makes a lot more sense than you think.
Really? I'm thinking, like, Disco Inferno. But
I'm not. And if you don't get it, I'll explain it to you later. But that being said, I'm glad you didn't say
I think I got it, and I'm really sorry. I think I got it, and I'm really sorry. I'm really, really sorry. I would like to apologize on air.
Now you got it. Now
you know why, by the way? Because here's the thing. When I think of Inferno, I think of either Disco Inferno or an Inferno match.
I froze, and I was like, I can't believe you just made that joke on air. That's horribly offensive.
I never think of those. I never think of that.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing because I laugh at things that make me uncomfortable, and I do, like, you know, I have a sense of humor.
No, he's laughing. No, he's not laughing at what I said. He's laughing at the fact that I said it while being completely oblivious to what I said.
And then I mentioned it. You're like, no. And then you're like, wait a minute. Fuck. Like, I know the gears in your head turned.
No, because when I said it and you were like, come on, I'm like, he can't be.
No, Disco Inferno's not offensive. What other Oh, wow.
Like, crap.
It's okay. That's not trying to offend anybody. Like, he obviously, you can tell by the real-time obliviousness that was just demonstrated on air.
No, but
thank you for the real-time obliviousness.
No, but seriously, I'm just like, in my head, these are things that do not make sense. So I would name more, but now I don't want to actually hit historical things that I don't fucking know about or that I've forgotten about because it sadly, you know, it isn't relevant to my life personally. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop making puns ever.
I didn't want to make a joke because in my head I'm like, I don't know what I can do here that's not offensive, but in my head I can explain bad puns involving countries that we're in or something like that.
No, I get that. No, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. That makes a lot more
on top of what we were saying is I agree with you. The idea that if we're making it that every time we're going to a foreign country, you know, and giving them a nice house show that we're going to try to turn this into some kind of network event, that would be a problem because then they're going to try to do something big. But I feel like this should be
I got a good one. I got one that isn't offensive. Rock en español. For when they go to
Mexico.
In general, because when I think of Univision, or I think of because just generally watching novellas like that, I think
See,
of Univision.
now I'm the one having stupid thoughts because you said Univision, and I started thinking of just Spanish television in general, and it led me to think of soccer or football as they would call it, and I just pictured listening to that event with the Spanish announce team. And they've hired, because they need to do a 3-man booth, they've hired to help the original 2 guys someone who does Spanish football.
Not going to lie, would not be surprised if they do not air Brock en Español in Spanish.
But I'd be really happy, man.
I would not be surprised if they did.
Lesnar, F5! By that time, the match is already over. The guy's still doing it.
The match? The event's over. They're already at Raw.
And I say that with complete love because of the fact that I grew up enjoying Spanish announcing for football so much that I wanted to be them.
That's nice.
No, seriously, because announcing was a thing for me. I wanted to be either a baseball sportscaster or I wanted to be able to do that. Like, just sit there and talk like that. Also roll my R's, which I still can't do. But more importantly,
yes,
we had a card here with pretty good wrestling, and that was fun. That was really fun.
It was.
Not being quiet. Okay, I'm scared. I'm like,
no.
I'm
listening. I'm listening to you talk. I'm listening to your beautiful voice.
That's sweet of you, Matthew. I love you.
Soothing.
But no, yeah, I mean, so what kicked it up? Jericho Neville, right?
Yes. Which, by the way, all right. So, it was very interesting because I was, again, watching this 5:30 in the morning, right? So I'm like, man, and we're going to get Cesaro and Diego, and we're going to get Primetime Players versus New Day. Yeah. Did not know that apparently those matches were dark matches happened right before the event went on air. So while Jericho and Neville is the first match for us, it is not the first match for them. So I will admit, yes, it was fun for us, I think, like at home going, wow, that was a great, amazing match. I'm a little bit disappointed that we didn't get to see Cesaro Diego. And I know it's like, Diego, really? But a house show is where people who don't normally get a chance to shine.
Get a chance to shine.
Or Diego.
No, I think that's a very accurate statement.
So I am actually a little sad that I didn't get to see Cesaro Diego because I know it's like, Matt, really? I'm not going to be honest. They probably put on a 3 to 4 star match.
No, I mean,
they
Diego
probably did some really cool stuff.
Diego, a worthwhile competitor. So, and Cesaro, I honestly believe Cesaro can get a really good match out of anyone given the amount of, the appropriate amount of time. I think with Cesaro, because of the way that he works in a match, if you give him time, he can make something out of anything.
Exactly. It's just, so that was the first match. Sadly, we didn't get to see 2 of the others, which is why, and of course, no mention of it on air either, which is why it felt weird, where it's like, and the New Day. Like, it was kind of one of those things where it's just, hey, don't announce your card if we're not going to get to see some of it. And there's going to, I'll admit, it would have been really weird and awkward to have had, I feel like someone made and then someone else vetoed the idea of having a 5 a.m. pre-show.
I mean, it's a funny thought to me. I assume the idea of airing the Finn special is probably more efficient considering the amount of people that were watching that were NXT fans. But or just general or like Fergal, Fergal DeWitt fans, just as his
What I think was interesting was that the
Finn.
UK, I believe at the time, the UK for them it was standard, it was a what we consider, right, New York, what we consider a standard Monday Night Raw time, because for them WWE pay-per-views air at 1 a.m, as does Monday Night Raw.
So they were just sitting there like, this is normal.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of people, no, not normal, technically. A lot of people in the UK were like, this is great. For us, that's actually normal time.
Oh, you're saying in terms of our Raw time?
Yeah, that's around the time of our Raw time. It was I believe it was 8 o'clock.
Right.
Yes, so our normal Raw / pay-per-view time, right? For us, 5:30 in the morning, we're just like, gotta wake up for or I'm already up for Beast in the East. They're like, cool, 8 o'clock. But usually, when we're like, yeah, Monday Night Raw, they're like, it's 1 a.m. Should I decide to see this? Should this be my night? And then some of them, it was really funny, some fan comments, they were like, this is going to be my night now. After it's all over, I wasted another 3 hours on this. Like,
does that even make sense? Because if it's like 5 a.m. for us, isn't it like 11 for them?
My bad. Sorry, 11, but still, it starts at 11. So
No,
when Raw
but
or
in the
pay-per-view
morning.
would end.
In the morning. I mean, not saying that's not a rational time, but like, aren't they like 6 hours ahead in the UK?
I believe it was later though. I can't clarify. I'm not in the UK right now. I believe people were saying that it was later by them. Maybe I'm getting some Monday Night stuff mixed up with.
Maybe AM
to
PM again. Yeah, something will be getting switched up. But no,
Excuse me.
Yeah, regardless of time, you woke up at 5:30 to watch this, so you.
I was already awake.
You were around at 5:30 a.m. to watch this, and
yes.
I believe Maddie was as well. Like, they didn't go to sleep; they were just existing too. And 5:30 came, and they're like, "Well, Beast in the East time." And we let off with Jericho and Neville, which I thought was a lot of fun because, like, Jericho, I think recently has been ticking me off after being one of my favorite performers in the Attitude Era. It may have just been me getting older, or like him having like avenues to say things that really like kind of hurt me as a fan, where I felt like he put down the casual fan sometimes, or he said some things that were offensive in character that I was like, I like it when you're healing in certain ways, but I don't like it when you're just being like straight up offensive to be offensive. It's like, ooh, Jericho's edgy.
Also, to be fair, I mean, look, you've been on record, I believe even on the podcast, saying, Jericho punting the flag
Brazilian
in Brazil
flag is something that I thought was incredible.
Because he was a heel. John Cena punts the Brazilian flag. Whoa, buddy. So even though Jericho, recently when recently Jericho's come back, he's been sort of a babyface. He is not. There's been no defined tweener role about him. So if he sits there and says something offensive to Stephanie,
it's really weird because I'm like, I can't condone it. I really can't. And that being said, having Jericho just show up into my life again and put on a really good match is fun because I've always loved his ring work. I really have. He's not my favorite ring performer ever, but I've always enjoyed his matches. And you take a guy like Neville. Their styles match very well. That's one. And two, Neville in general is an excellent performer. So you give him just, this. You have two guys wanting to show off. They both wrestled in Japan before. Oh, by the way, that's when I knew something was amiss. The match starts, like, as Jericho's entering. And Cole's, like, mentioning that Jericho used to do Dragon Gate. And I'm like, he can do that? When was he allowed to do that? And then he mentions it for Neville. And I'm like, Mods are asleep. Crossed out Mods. Vince is asleep. Actually, do commentary.
Okay. Have you read the notes that they're given for commentary?
So I read that. Is that confirmed to be legit?
I have not seen any confirmation, sadly.
I want that to be legit because I just want to read through it again and gawk at some of it.
What's funny is a lot of it felt legit. It's just that some of it is just hard because you really do have to change the way you speak as a human being. Like, in this industry, sounds like something that sounds legit. Like, it sounds normal to say for me personally. Like, it sounds very official. Like, if I was in a commentator's booth, I thought, in this business, you see people like this all the time. People who think, and also, but when you look at a man like this, like, I don't know, stuff like that feels like, I can hear it. Like, I can hear certain commentary, like, saying it, but for some reason, it's just, maybe because, like, JR said it a lot. Like, I don't know, it feels like something you'd hear. And, you look at this list, and it's just do not say in this business, in this industry. And I was like, really?
I'm nerved at some of it because, and I won't comment too much further on here because of the idea of, like, if it's legit, I will have a long talk with you about it. Like, on air.
We'll do a podcast on
because
4 pieces of paper.
I really think that's something interesting. But, and so, Michael Cole, the entire night, I just need to say, was on fire. Was literally, literally on fire. He was spitting fire that was extinguished by the people. Like,
though I have to be honest, it felt like there was a lot of gaps. So I would like to just ask, if you're spitting fire, Michael Cole, spit continuous fire. Don't let it go.
Look, fire breathing is a very dangerous sport, and if he's spitting fire, he needs to take breaks to inhale more gasoline and stuff like that. Trust me, I've tried it. It doesn't just become a constant stream. But that being said, I made a joke that he was actually like subtly making a tribute to like Japanese commentary, because it was sort of like and I'll let the match speak for itself kind of moments, and I actually enjoyed that.
Yes.
So regardless,
all right,
but
me talking about the match itself. I really did think I think that, not just Neville, but Jericho brought this fire and intensity that I didn't know Jericho still had. I was hoping that he did. But he's also another person that, usually we say this about younger talent or underused talent, but I mean, hell, having Jericho come back and be able to do this shows you that if he was on Monday Night Raw, he wouldn't be doing this. Like, I don't know if Jericho versus Neville Monday Night Raw would look as good as this did.
I don't either. And
that's what I'm saying.
I have to admit, there were some really fun spots in this match for me.
Like,
I sometimes, will say the spot fest. No, the spots they pulled off throughout this match were really, really great. Like, it felt like they have wrestled each other for years in, like, other bodies. And, like, their spirits.
And it's funny because
some of it was so good.
They haven't.
And smooth.
Like,
no,
Jericho.
And it's so smooth.
No.
Like, one of them specifically, like that German suplex spot, I loved it. Jericho's about to do it. No, quick turnaround, German suplex on Jericho.
Yes.
The Codebreaker spot, one of my favorite spots of the entire night.
And what's amazing is the complete misdirection, because on Monday Night Raw, WWE pay-per-views, that would be the end of it. It's over. No, it was not.
No, and it was so,
like
and
that.
Neville sold death. And I loved it, because the crowd goes nuts, and Neville's dead. But Jericho's not ending it there, and then he gets later on. Oh, by the way, this is the thing I need to mention. So I've complained on air about the setup to the Red Arrow. I couldn't complain about this one because he got
it was
two
done
hits,
very well.
then a super kick, and then a third little like Avada Kedavra, like Avada Kedavra kick.
Yeah.
And I was just like, dude, that's how you set up the Red Arrow. That makes me think, okay, this man is out, and I can set up the Red Arrow. Not like why it was like, no, it was legitimately shots. And I loved it.
No.
This worked for me on many levels.
Yeah, no, I found it to be just an amazing match. They really knew how to get the crowd excited. And it's very interesting because you look at Japanese crowds and, we hear this from people in the industry all the time. In this business, we hear all the time how how Japanese crowds are usually very quiet. And you'll still see that unless it's a huge spot. But what I noticed is, and, maybe you can help me out with this, the idea that, not only was this was a Japanese crowd, but they were WWE fans. Not knocking us. But I feel like you could tell, if you really look into the crowd, who was there because they love the WWE versus who sat there and thought, we want to see Brock because Brock is legitimate, and the last time Brock was here, my smartness became Markness. So I would like to see Brock. So, because you saw some people, not that there were people that didn't want to, that were cheering that didn't want to see Brock, that's silly, but the idea that people that were cheering a lot and, making chants and whatever, it was not the entire arena. It sounded like it was at some points, but it was not the entire arena. You'll see people, specific people, just sit there. I'm watching a match. Damn all these people.
Mm-hmm.
It was because you could see it too in the front row as well. Like some people, even some people that weren't really cheering crazy were just, clapping. I mean, you saw Kevin Owens' guy clapping, but there were there's a few people that you can look into the crowd, and when everyone's like, this is awesome, they're just sitting there. Right, I'm well aware of how awesome it is. I would really like to watch the event myself.
That's an interesting point, actually. I didn't think about that too much, and I think it's amusing.
It felt like how sometimes when you're in a movie theater, you'll have people either scream with the movie or scream at the movie or something like that, kind of become interactive, and then there are others, sometimes like myself, who are just like, I would really like to watch the film.
I think I understand that. Apparently, you're just an angry fan. I get it now.
Now the next time I go to the movies with
you, I'm just going to cheer things on. just like everything.
You can whisper them. We can whisper things
them.
to
No,
each other.
fuck that. Somebody's gonna shoot somebody and just boom, headshot in the middle of the theater.
Oh,
and then
I thought
me.
you were gonna be like, all I could see is fuck whispering, stunner.
No, don't do that to me, because then someone gets shot. Matt, that man had a family. Why did he shoot him? And just someone gets kicked in the back. My God, Matt, he just broke him in half. He broke him in half. Can he do that? That's a movie. When did they allow him to do that on TV? And just throwing everything later on. He's getting beaten like a government mule, Matt.
Oh, no, that guy shot the other guy. Looks into the camera. This actor sucks. Oh, no, he's shooting again. He's just shooting on the entire movie. Oh, no.
I think one of my life goals would be also to use the phrase educated feet in a sentence, and it makes sense. I hated JR for being able to make that sound like it was an actual phrase that was logical.
Level.
No, I hated that, because educated feet, I'm like, I know what you mean, JR, but damn it. And they made a lot of jokes about that. Just like, how can his feet be educated?
Oh, my
like,
God.
obviously I know what he means. But anyway.
Yes. All right, so before we move on, it was really nice, I think, to hear people cheering on, in their own language. I think it's a nice twist, to see that, because, we're another. So to have people, say, like, this is awesome, or like, Y2J, Neville, things like that, like, it's cool. But to actually hear people say, like, Gambare, I was like, yes, we are in Japan. I'm not watching New Japan, but we are in Japan, yes.
Right.
It was nice. It was just because I don't know if you heard that. There was a woman who, when Neville and Jericho were both on the floor after Neville did the jump, she's just screaming, Gambare, Gambate. And I'm like, yes, we're in Japan.
That's cool. I didn't hear that because I didn't get to watch. I didn't hear like every little thing. I didn't get to hear it loud enough as much yet.
Yeah.
But wow, that's very nice. I appreciate that.
Well, I mean, she's just a fan. But I do enjoy the idea of, like, yes, we're able to.
No, I appreciate the fact that you noticed that. And you're like, hey, we're right. And I'm like, that's true. I'm with that. I like that. That's nice.
So moving on.
Generally, match was lovable.
Of course. And, again, and yes, Jericho won. But, again, it's one of those things where I didn't know how you were going to react to that because I know you love Jericho, but Neville is a younger talent. But, hey, house show.
Exactly.
Jericho's return to Japan.
That's where I applied that this is glorified house show logic. Where normally I'd be mad, but no, it's the house show. Jericho returns, or Jericho's doing his thing, he's going to win. And I let it happen.
Yeah.
Also,
I will admit, though,
incredible match.
I will admit, if stories are made from this, especially for someone like Neville who hasn't been used, I will not complain to more Neville Jericho. I'm not going to say we shouldn't get it. I'm not going to say Neville should not get a win on Jericho at a WWE pay-per-view or a live event or just general event, network special event in the near future. Right? I wouldn't oppose that. But I don't like the idea of, trying to continue them in a way where it feels like it's an end-all, if you will. I don't want them, regardless of title or not, to say, and this feud will end tonight. Like, no, it would never end tonight on a house show. I once saw Jack Swagger fight Rusev at a house show at Madison Square Garden. Rusev beat up R-Truth. R-Truth got some offense in, but it was more of a quick it was like a squash, but R-Truth got in some offense. What happens? Jack Swagger runs to the ring, says, Zeb comes out with him. This is when Zeb was there. Saw this at the Garden. And it was just, hey, you want to fight him? You can fight him right now. And it was just, that was not Zeb's voice. What happened to me? I'm very tired right now. And I usually do a great Zeb. What's wrong? And so, seriously, I felt so mad.
No, you have no filter.
I feel so mad.
Like, all the three voices in your head just speak at once in turn. It's just all out loud, though. There's no filter.
I'm just really mad because usually I do a really good Zeb voice, and I'm like, all right, okay, or not. But, so they come to the ring. They fight on the spot. I don't remember if it was for the U.S. title or not, but they fight on the spot. Rusev crushes him in about a minute or less. You can, or your money back. So, he him on the spot, right? Just boom, Rusev crush. Jack taps right? And I sit there and I'm like, well, that was anticlimactic. And they still had a fight at the pay-per-view the next week.
It's funny because in my head, for some reason, when you said Rusev versus Jack Swagger, the word that came into my head was the timeless rivalry. And I just kind of laughed to myself because I'm like, that's the most sarcastic way I've ever used timeless in my life.
It's just, you know, the man that gravity forgot, just the feud that time forgot. Jack Swagger
gravity
versus...
forgot. For the record,
the feud
the man that gravity forgot is
Mm-hmm.
beginning to make me laugh a little bit just because I'm such a literal person. And it's like, the man that gravity forgot. So it's like, did he know him quite well and then just forgot about him? Because that's not cool, Gravity. And then it's a thing where, like, I don't know, man. To forget someone, you had to know them at some point. So, like, what did Neville do to Gravity? Or what happened there?
Either way, someone forgot that Gravity Falls. I'm not sure which, but someone forgot that Gravity Falls.
I'll give you that. I will give you that earlier. I'll let you redeem yourself.
But, hooray!
And you know why?
I knew what I was doing this time.
Because next Monday, Gravity Falls returns to Disney XD.
Oh, I thought you were just going to be like, and this Sunday at Super Slam.
No. I would love to. But no. It wouldn't have made sense.
Right.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Don't worry.
So Nikki fought Paige, who fought Tamina. I don't know. When I say it that way, it's like, who fought...
It sounded like a gauntlet or something.
Yeah. It's an entire gauntlet because basically it's one of those weird things where like we sat there for a while and we're like, man, giving Paige too many wins, giving Paige too much. It's as if they thought, you know what, you're right, that's wrong. But we still have to make someone into a super mega star. And it's like, no, we don't need that. And so it's just like Nikki Bella versus, like I know it seems like Paige versus the world, but no, it's like Nikki Bella in a gauntlet match versus Paige, versus Tamina, versus Emma, versus Summer Rae, versus Layla, versus JoJo, versus Eva Marie, versus Trish Stratus, versus Lita, versus Alundra Blaze, versus Awesome Kong, versus Sean Waltman, versus... Like, wait a minute, what one of these things
versus
is not like the other?
Versus our inability to focus on a podcast. And that, of course, goes over everybody. But
we found something to take away Nikki's reign. Finally.
That has a longer reign than Nikki Bella right now, and I'm very sorry about that to our loyal listeners. Because that dates back to me narrating the story of Jerry Lawler destroying WWE from the inside by stealing the WWE title.
We talked about that in person. I find that to be the funniest story in the world. We can't do that now on air because we're actually talking about a pay-per-view or a live event or a house show or a glorified house show.
But, like swing it back here.
GW, what?
GFW, what?
No, it's GHS, glorified house show. Tonight on the network.
Back to the GHS. It's funny, with the time that they got, the women made a relatively good match, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I wish they had more.
It was interesting because certain people that night, right, made me feel like jet lag took a chunk out of them.
I don't
normally say that because, and it sounds stupid because it's like, well, they travel everywhere. Yes. But they don't always fly. They drive, and I don't know if that changes them. I don't know if that fixes anything. I don't know if them taking shifts driving means they get more sleep or something along those lines. Also, because it's Japan, they have to do a lot of work in general there. It's not just come to Japan, wrestle, and leave. Not saying that's always the case in other places, but I would argue that there's a chance that everyone, that some people just do different things and they are utilized differently when they might go to Wisconsin, right, versus going to Japan. Media tours, things like that. So... I don't know, because I remember, because Liz was telling me, which I disagree, I saw it a bit differently, but I still could sort of see her point. She was saying that Owens looked a bit sluggish. And I'm not saying that he was slow or at all or anything, but, usually when he has matches with Cena, they're a lot high-paced, they're a bit different.
I have to say something, it's interesting. Mm-hmm. So the match between Owens and Balor, I don't think it was...
Which we're not at yet.
Yeah, but match of the year... but I think it was really good. And I think that it was one of the matches that was potentially affected by, like, I'll say jet lag because I agree with you. I honestly do. I do think that not even just jet lag, but also, like, it's hard to adapt to that schedule. And even if you travel a lot, it's still really hard to perform when you're sitting there thinking your body is like, it is 5:30 in the morning. You are not,
exactly.
Trained athletes, they have an edge, a good edge that will help them overcome that. Like, I don't think they were bad matches on the card, and that's very impressive to me. Because in my head, it's still really cool to overcome things like jet lag. I'm not lying. So I do think the women put together a good match with what they had. They could have been given more time, and I can probably say that about every women's match from now until the end of time. And they had Nikki pin Tamina because logic, and they still want to keep Paige.
Which I would argue, I'm actually happier about that. I'm happy about that because here's the thing, right? I love Tamina a lot, and even though she did look very tired, but I don't think that really like hurt her personally. I think that she did look very tired coming out. What I noticed, because when I was first seeing it, I was watching it on a phone, sadly, because crappy old laptop can't even connect to internet. So I'm watching it on a phone, a little smaller screen. Now I'm watching it on a large TV, and it's just, wow, Tamina looks tired. It didn't affect her performance, I would argue, that much. Like, I don't think she would have done things. It's like, she couldn't do the red arrow. It sucked, but she had jet lag. No, that did not affect her at all. But still.
Why did you state Tamina doing the red arrow?
Because in my head it's like she does the splash already, and I was trying to think
the Superfly
for some
splash,
reason I can't.
I get you.
Yeah, so for some reason I can't think of the moonsault. No, moonsault. Brock does it.
The shooting star press.
Shooting star press. Thank you. Couldn't think of shooting star press.
You're tired.
Like,
it's all right, man.
It was just. What's funny is I'm tired, and you're the one who had to deal with little kids. Like, I feel like you're through a curse or something. You're transferring the tired to me.
Oh, yes, I am. Why do you think I called in to do the show? It wasn't for any reason outside of me transferring my tortured demons to you. And now I feel great.
I'm cool with that as long as you're honest with me about it. Because I'll take them for you. You just got to be honest.
See, there you go. Honesty is the best policy, kids. Who are listening to my podcast because I work with you. But
all the kindergartners, they're all listening in.
If they can spell podcast collectively, I may buy them a rack of cupcakes tomorrow. But that being said, they're wonderful children. I love my children. But
no, the letter 2. Yes. Here's your cupcake. Here's your cupcake. Here's your cupcake.
But yeah,
I spelled podcast.
I think they did what they needed to do. I can totally understand the argument for having this main event and giving it 20 minutes. I can. And argue that even if it was a singles match, it would have been a very solid main event. I don't know when we're going to get to the point where they'll do something like that, but I think it's a very solid point that you make.
Well, I'll say this much. Before I even get to that, I didn't really get to mention the reason why I wanted Tamina to take the pin, let's say, over Naomi. I consider Naomi more of a contender than Tamina only because of where they've placed them both on the card. Even as of late, you're like, really? But Naomi looks like she is the leader, while Tamina's the bodyguard. She's second. If Naomi were to fall, yes, Naomi can't make it. Oh, of course, Tamina's going to step in and prove herself. But I don't think that we should have had Tamina either come out with the title or look strong if Naomi, let's say, was going to. Nor do I want Naomi to take that pin because I consider her a competitor. I don't consider her the one to, she has to take the fall. Tamina brings so much to the WWE, I feel, that they don't really let her bring, but she can bring a lot to the company. But still, when somebody takes the fall and make someone else look more powerful because, Nikki Bella just took down Tamina.
Nikki, look, I just don't know what they're doing with Nikki otherwise. Sorry to interrupt you. I think this one was it was smart not to have the women's title change here if they do plan to do some kind of change. But I don't know what they're doing. I mean, are we just going to have Nikki and Paige again now at Battleground? That is the idea, to my knowledge.
Most likely, because
Yeah, this is one of the situations where like maybe something might have developed from this match, but
if I was running things for Battleground, they would take me off the project immediately, because I would sit there and be like, hey, the War Games thing that hasn't like gone off even for the men, like even superstars. Everyone's like, no, let's not do this. Remember that War Games thing? Yes, Mr. Marrero. Well, let's do that with the women. What are we going to call it? War Games.
You know what?
War Games.
The only real problem with that is?
What?
They haven't built enough credible contenders.
Just think about how many people are involved in a match like that, just throughout the entire division.
No, that's what I'm saying. They haven't built them to be credible at all.
I think people hearing that a War Games is coming would just be like, I'm in.
Oh, no, I'd watch. I'd gladly watch.
One person? What if we call them the Catfight Games?
Get out.
Get out.
But
what if we call them the Hunger? Get out.
So what do we have after the women's match before we run out of time?
But no, I don't want to stop yet.
You have more to say?
I can't.
Go for it, please. Please, go for it.
I want to mention the fact that, did you hear Nikki and Paige talking during the match?
I did, and I thought it was just me.
No.
I thought I was like, I couldn't make out the words, really, to be fair.
Oh, I did. I couldn't make out the first time, but the second time. Mm-hmm. The second time I was watching it with Liz, and they were actually at the corner. I didn't notice this one. And Paige is sitting up top, and Nikki's, like, there. And you hear, you ready? Yeah. Yeah. And it's nice because here's the thing, right? Obviously, they travel all around the world, right? They have shows in countless places. Okay. But never, for the most part, do they have cameras in their faces. When it's not a WWE Monday Night Raw, WWE insert night here SmackDown, or a WWE pay-per-view.
The fact that it was a glorified house show kind of made them let their guard down.
Mixed in with the fact that they were in Japan. Because, again, Japan is quiet when action is there unless a major spot is coming up. Because, yes, even newer crowds I've noticed, Japan's quiet during matches, yes, but when a huge spot hits, I've noticed, watching, like, matches with, like, Okada or Ibuki or, Tanahashi, you'll see, like, a huge, what?
Nakamura, but go on.
Yes. You'll notice that they are very loud during, poppable moments is what I'll call them. Right? They will pop. But generally during the match, quiet. So I think that they aren't used to it in terms of they being the superstars, the people, the performers aren't used to it because they'll say that stuff, but no one around the ring is going to hear them. I mean, what? Are the people in the crowd? We heard them speak words. No, it's not that loud. But it's loud enough to hear if there's a camera in your face and there's mics around the ring. So it's one of those things where, I don't think they had that kind of experience, maybe. Just again, with the idea that, hey, you're in Japan. Like, I don't know how Germany would react, to be fair. I don't hear much about German crowds. I don't hear much about crowds in Mexico or anywhere else around the world. So I don't know how they would, if they would be loud enough to drown it out. I just know that this crowd during the action was clearly, quiet enough to not drown out, hey, so go over here and I'm going to do this. Clearly we're not able to drown that out. Which is funny, because again, it was a little bit of that happened in Jericho Neville too. It was when he threw him for the code breaker. Actually, he was picking him up, and you can see it was more of a camera shot thing, but still, you can just see Jericho's mouth moving. So and that's where he reversed him, and then jumped up in the air, and then bam, code breaker. So, ring general, just, hey, so I'm going to throw you into that, you're going to reverse me, and I'm going to code breaker your face. Like, imagine, how crazy is it to be the ring general and be able to say stuff like that? Just so, I'm going to powerbomb you off this Hell in a Cell. Did corporate approve that? I approve.
You added in Hell in a Cell to that.
No, in general, just any kind of match, just being the ring general. I'm going to powerbomb you off of this cell. Did corporate approve this?
I laughed at the idea of, when you're calling the spots, you have to call them with WWE names. All right, so I'm going to toss you off this Hell in a Cell. Couldn't you just say Cell, John? I'm going to toss you off this Hell in a Cell, and then I'm going to put you through the announcer's table, And then we call actual wrestling hold. No, because suddenly.
Oh my God! Imagine I'm going to throw you right into the WWE universe. I'm going to throw you right into the.
I'm going to elevated fisherman carry you into the WWE universe.
I wonder if they come up with like shorthand names, not the WWE names, just like, hey, so I'm going to like PTC this, and then I'm going to like just shorthand names, because you can't say stuff like that.
Oh, no, it totally makes sense. Like, I'm sure Randy Orton uses all the time, where he's like, all right, so I'm going to RKO you, and they know exactly what he means.
Usually, yeah.
Right.
Paige is usually like, so I'm going to, SDL you. What? Scorpion Deathlock? We made it PTO for a reason. Your name is in it.
And she's just mad. Paige, stop out, it's stupid. And it is. So she wins that round. But that being said,
I loved MSDL, Modified Scorpion Deathlock. It's a crosslock. MSDSCL. Matt has problems
SUV.
with that. Yeah. NTSF SGSUV. But yeah, so now I think it's time to move on.
Okay.
Brock Lesnar fought Kofi Kingston, and I swear, right? Brock tore up the mid card.
That entire segment was great. I mean, I just laughed because all I thought about was naming more events after the mid card matches.
Oh my God.
Because in my head, it's like, if that's what we're going to do now, then that could be really fun. Just what's up in the palace.
I have one that doesn't make sense and doesn't rhyme.
Go for it.
Kofi's in Brazil. Like, that's all. Just like, that's just the name of the fucking event. 2015. Kofi's in Brazil. Watch Kofi Kingston be in Brazil. Kofi, this time I won't be Jamaican. Watch him in Brazil.
That was a really underrated joke, and I hope more people get it.
I'm going to have to explain that to a few people later on.
That was a really underrated joke, and I'm smiling right now, and I'm really glad.
Oh, my God. But, anyway.
And it's funny, I say underrated because I'm already predicting reactions of people where, like, that wasn't funny. And then I have to explain it. They're like, wow, that was kind of funny. Because, yeah, that's why it's underrated. I know what you people are thinking before you even think it. That's why I get the podcast.
Okay. But no, I wonder if there's one person, and I say one person because I really do feel like 99% of people, as far as I hear, love Brock Lesnar, right?
Right.
So I wonder if there's one person just sitting at home, doesn't matter where in the world, because, network is now pretty much everywhere throughout the world, right? One person just going, good, this is where Brock belongs.
Oh, no,
like
there
one
is.
person.
There's definitely someone, somewhere, just sitting there, like, screw this part-timer, he doesn't belong in the main event.
Oh, I'm sorry. No.
No, I know.
Part-timer's fine. It's fine for someone to say that based on him being a part-timer. Just someone that truly does not believe in Brock Lesnar's athletic ability.
Well, that's fine, man. I mean, look, even as far as last year, we found someone who didn't believe in Daniel Bryan at all, remember?
That's right. I remember talking to someone who literally shouted
and I was
authority.
Flabbergasted because I thought...
Did you actually talk to him? Because I met him and I told you about him.
Because, I talked to him after because I had met him the day after you. And I thought he was messing with me at first. I did.
Me too.
Because I thought he was just trying to be one of those people where it's like, Daniel Bryan sucks. Right. Also, John Cena is the best in the world. And Rey Mysterio should never have held the World Heavyweight title because he's only a cruiserweight. I'm like, all right,
and he
didn't
say that,
as
far as I know. Did he say that?
No, he didn't. But I'm saying,
okay.
I thought that was the
me too. I was just wondering because you got to talk to him more. I stopped talking to him once he mentioned the Daniel Bryan stuff.
Yeah, no, and a lot of it was criticism on his size, and I was so confused because no.
Do you not know how this works?
But that being said, I'm sure there's someone out there laughing the Brock's in the mid-card, and they are watching this event because they're a dedicated fan. And Brock did what he was supposed to do. I wish they could have... It's funny. I wish, in my head, in my world, of dream world, that Kofi could have gotten to do more things. But logically, he should not have been able to. Brock did exactly what he was supposed to do. And he did
enough.
That's what he did enough that I couldn't complain. And, the general segment was entertaining, the idea of, an F5 party for the crowd in Japan. And they ate it up, I think.
For me personally, right, I feel like if he was on Monday Night Raw, it would have been F5, it's done. Then an F5 party, and we would have been like, great, so that's Brock on Monday Night Raw, everyone. But here I felt like, again, the only problem, of course, as I mentioned earlier, this is really where I felt like, okay, while it's a house show environment, so yes, Brock is going to be in the mid-card, and I knew he wasn't going to main event it. I fucking knew it even before they gave me the card. I was like, Brock's not main eventing this, right? And then it's like, Brock versus Kofi. I knew it. Because Brock had no actual feud to main event it with. See, in my head, to be fair, if this wasn't going to be on the network, I would have seen Seth Rollins going to Japan and Brock fighting Seth in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
But because this was on the network, maybe that got changed. But it's funny because it's like it doesn't seem like it got changed because, to be fair, a tag team match seems completely legit for me, personally. Tag team match with Dolph Ziggler, right, very popular. John Cena, very popular. Wade Barrett, a little confusing to me. Right, I love him, but a little confusing to me. And Kane, very popular. Did not seem odd to me at all. In fact, a little confused why it wasn't Big Show with Kane, to be fair. But then again, he's working at something with Ryback, so I'm sure they had him do some stuff on SmackDown. I haven't seen it yet, because, hell, it even hasn't aired for us yet, but I know there's some spoilers out. So, yeah, to me it feels like they, yeah. So, yeah.
No,
that's all. So it's just, Brock, Brock is just, there, which, again, but you know what? Kofi didn't suck. I mean, that's the thing, because that's the problem, I think, when you put certain people up against certain people. It's just, no one's going to get any offense in. No, Kofi got some offense in, even if Brock no-sold some things. I believe he got Brock down on one knee, and I was like, wow, this makes me happy.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kofi takes his F5, right, after taking his German suplexes that I thought, well, Kofi's dead, everyone. Like, not even a joke. I don't mean to laugh. I'm being completely serious. Like, I was worried about Kofi's health the first time I saw this.
All good, all good selling to me.
Yeah.
Like, I really liked it all.
Did not like the New Day getting destroyed, to be fair, but at the same time, again, that's where you need, commentary was good, but I think just a little bit more, where it's just, well, they were in a match earlier tonight before the event took place. Or, because to me it's just, in my head, it's like, why didn't they all come out as the New Day?
Right, because they had already had their match earlier in the night. Yes, tonight, but we didn't see it.
And I guess they weren't allowed to comment on it because we didn't see it.
Bingo.
Which sucks, because it would have made a lot more sense. But yes, anyway, so, yeah, Brock looked good. I think Brock needed this, to be fair, right? I think Brock really needed to, do something like this. Because if not, I mean, Brock, I don't really, we both don't enjoy what happened 2 weeks ago where he got beaten down. We don't think it made sense. We think it makes sense from a babyface, storytelling perspective. We just don't think that it deserves to be put on Brock. Some people can pull it off very well. Even Ambrose, someone that we didn't really think about, but can pull it off pretty well, given the right terms, given the right words, saying the right things. He can pull it off. I don't see Brock doing that. That's why I'm really happy that they're kind of looking at more of a, let's try to get his heat back. Where it's funny, or that quote-unquote edge, where you and I might say, why is John Cena doing that? Let's say to the Wyatt family, right? But the difference is, to be completely honest, the difference is that, first off, I think we can all sit here and just say, Cena and Brock, two completely different characters in what they need. Right? Completely different characters. Where if Cena does get that beat down, he does not need to take out 3 people. Brock, he didn't need it in the first place. So, if Brock hadn't gotten that fucking beat down, he wouldn't need to have destroyed all 3, right? But because he got that, It's like, yeah, he kind of needed to go out there and just beat down 3 people who haven't really been booked as well recently anyway, to be fair, where I believe, if I'm correct, when John Cena did that to the Wyatts, it was some problem. We had, some hope in the Wyatts either getting
that is correct.
Another title.
That is very
correct.
correct.
At least the New Day has had the title once already. The Wyatts have never held the tag team title, I believe, on the main roster. So, that's the thing. We had a tag team and we had Bray.
They should have.
They were gonna.
But then the injury.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Here's where I put my tag team titles, if I had one. But yeah, so moving on, Owens fought Baylor in a match that I was very happy about, not even for the big stuff, not even just for stuff like the Bloody Sundays and for all the coup de grace. No, just the little stuff. I really liked the little things that both of these men did.
Kevin Owens is quickly becoming my effing hero.
Yeah.
Because of the little things that he does. He deserves to be punched in the face for them. It's just early on when he knocked down Finn, just bowing to the 4 corners of the ring. Arguably my favorite moment of the night was him running the ropes, jumping over, and then putting him in a sleeper hold. I burst out laughing.
Yes. I hate the stupid country and everyone in it.
I couldn't stop laughing because it's just like, what is he doing? Is he going to go for a kick? And it's a sleeper hold. I was like, you fucking
throwing
asshole.
The flowers, too, by the way, were
that
great.
Was good heel work. The entrance is so cool because, they made it so dramatic. And then Kevin just, fuck your customs. Meanwhile, Finn is just basking in all of it. And just confetti everywhere.
It's hilarious because, okay, so you and I have had some bad experiences with some really shitty fans who have used
and
that
streamers.
During the match. Streamers during the match, right? However,
stupid. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, no, we can't get into this right now. But, because we've talked about it before. We can't do it right now. Just last year's Ring of Honor Coney Island event was very terrible. So I would buy it just to see if, we're on camera yelling at people to shut the hell up.
We probably
but anyway,
are. We're not exactly quiet. But...
Yeah. But anyway, so, yeah, it was just one of those things where I feel like Japan really gets it. I'm happy that most people in that crowd who were Japanese got it, and I was very happy. Where it's just, hey, so we're going to use them for their intended purpose. We're going to throw them during the event, during the opening stuff, and then when the match is on, we're just not. Novel
seems
fucking
like pretty
idea.
Good logic, right? Right? I mean,
yeah. So, yeah, very happy to see that. Because when I saw them, I was like, oh, God. It was really bad. I was getting flashbacks. I was like, no, please don't do this now.
But it worked out so well. And just the ceremonial flowers. And then the match itself, my God. It
was really funny, though, because it felt like WWE was not used to that. Because when we were there for the Ring of Honor event, sadly we had to bring it up again, they were tearing stuff up immediately, get it out. They felt like they had more than enough people. In this thing, it was like, so do we have John and Bill? Crap, where's Bill? Whatever, just have John do it.
So it was funny because you can still see some of the confetti and shit hanging around. I really like this match, though. I didn't go as far as match of the year, to be honest.
No, definitely not.
I really, really enjoyed this match. It was definitely top 10 and arguably top 5. It was really good.
Yes. It's little stuff, like I said, man. We mentioned the whole headlocks thing. The idea that Balor put Steen. Oh God, it's happening. Balor put Owens. That's gonna be terrible. I feel like one day I'm just gonna sit here and just start mixing up everyone's different names. Owens and Balor. No, Owens and Balor will have gone through about 2 or 3 gimmick changes with new names. It's going to be like a, Big Daddy V, Mabel Viscera thing. It's just going to be I don't know which is which anymore.
It's funny because I thought a lot about the things I was going to say about this match, and I think in the terms of Kevin Steen / Owens, so it's okay. because I was going to mention, no, because the problem is, some of these guys I've watched for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
When they first signed Prince Devitt, I was freaking out. Because I'm like, this guy is incredible. You're going to love him. A year later, everyone loves him, so we're good. I freaked out over Kalisto when they signed him as Samurai del Sol, and Steen, too. So, Steen, I think, one of the things that will always get me, no matter how many times, when he does things like hit a senton bomb or something like that, it's really impressive. Because, people look at someone like me, and it's like, you should never do anything athletic in your life. And I'm like, yeah, I don't do that anymore. And you could look at someone like Steen if you don't know anything about him, and people would be like, yeah, you're not an athletic man. And you watch him in the ring, and it's just the exact opposite, where he brings it better than some of these people who are quote-unquote fit. And he's so dedicated to the little things in the match that he really, can create something special. And finish is good. It's just really good, no matter who you put him with. So, we had a lot of subtle stuff, like Owens going for essentially like the five-knuckle shuffle for a bit, and just the smoothness between them that really created an impressive match that was just downright enjoyable.
So I mentioned the chair thing. Why? Because that's definitely a lot more New Japan than it is pure WWE. Because WWE, they like their barricade spots. They like hitting people with chairs, but not really sitting a guy down, running and doing a drop kick or some other variation. That's very New Japan. So it felt nice, I think, as a man who worked in New Japan for about a good 8 years, to do something like that in Japan, where some people watching who might not know of stuff like that are like, wow, that's actually a little bit different. And then for some of the people that do know, it's just, wow, I've seen that before, but not here. It seems somewhat, it seems in a weird way, I guess a bit like, I don't know if I should say vertigo, or, because I don't want to say the idea of, I don't want to say the idea of deja vu necessarily, but just the idea of, this is very, it's like, where am I? What's going on? This feels different. It was a very interesting flavor, I guess, of what happened in this match. And one thing that I definitely enjoyed is how much abuse Owens took and how much he kicked out of, just to show that the final one hit. And then, bam, we have ourselves a new champion.
Yeah, just match psychology, just the general beatdown of everything going on. I mean, the match got outside the ring. We got a lot of stuff going on. It was really, really fun. It was just great fun for me.
Also, very important, the Oni on Baylor's back was amazing.
Yeah, what are the symbols? Do you know what the symbols meant? Like what they said?
Sadly,
was it a name?
I was supposed to research this before the show. Sadly,
no, that's totally okay. Because I'm willing to admit I didn't know what they meant. And
what matters is this. I would argue they might say Oni, but Oni, by the way, being demon, essentially.
Yeah.
So that's the face that was on his back, the demon. If you actually search up through any, image search that you have, you can actually look up Oni or Oni mask, O-N-I. And you'll actually, O-N-I mask or just O-N-I. And you'll see that it's actually
back.
Essentially. Just, a few differences here and there. But pretty much what was on Finn's back, which is amazing because the idea that it's like, hey, the demon comes out, right? So the idea that it's not just the demon comes out, but the Oni comes out. And it's like, wow. He's in Japan. So it's like, he's been there for a while. So it's like, the Oni comes out. And I really enjoyed, what's fun is I don't know about their feud so much because sadly I'm not caught up with NXT as of yet. But what I enjoy is the idea that I didn't feel like I didn't need to be. These two
by the way,
killed
apparently, loosely translated, this is going by Liz. It means Demon Prince or Devil Prince, which totally makes sense in terms of Demon Prince, because the whole demon theme with Finn makes 150% sense. So I'm going to go with it being Demon Prince.
So I assume it was probably like Oni-O, which O or OU, which OU is king, right? And demon is Oni. So it probably said something like that.
I need it to be Prince.
Prince,
no,
I can be translated to Prince as well. I'm trying to think
I know, but what I'm saying is I need it to be Prince because his name for years was Prince DeVitt.
Of course.
So I needed to be Prince because that would totally give me like a love boner for the moment. I just, seriously, I don't break out the boner phrase that often, but really, that's just special.
He doesn't have boners that often, folks. But I...
Hey. I heard that.
It's okay. But seriously, it makes a lot of sense. referring to the enemy.
Oh God, what a fucking episode!
Just those guys in the East. It's like, wait, we're confused. They're in Japan? No, just their topic is in the West. Like, that's just where they should be. Like, they should be over here. They're all the way over there. They're nowhere near. They're actually those guys in the galaxy right now. That's how far they are off the fucking mark. I got a friend, Mark. Pretty cool guy.
The death of Marky Mark when John Cena retires.
No.
That being said.
No, but seriously, like I was saying, though, this match, I liked it. I really think they brought so much to it. So just by match quality, I'll sit here and I'll understand. I'll understand you saying this should be the main event. It's just, man, I really want them.
I really do think it should have been. And just the confetti, the ceremonial flowers, everything, like the way that they treated this, everything about this should have been the main event. Like, I just hate, it's so hard for me to even have a follow-up. Like, okay, even if the follow-up match was the best match in the world ever, it's so hard for me to sit after all of that, literally everything, the build-up to the match, the video packages.
See, what I would have done is...
all this stuff. And then that moment...
Yes, I would have put the tag team match right after. That's the tag team... I'm sorry, let me rephrase this. That sounded silly. I would have put the match for the tag team titles, Primetime Players versus the New Day, after.
Okay, sorry. I was like, Matt, the tag team match did come right after. What the fuck are you talking about?
Right, yeah. Or I would have put, even though I don't consider this to be a short match, if they needed something, I would have put Cesaro versus Diego and had them tear it up. Because the thing is even though I know what you said, if it was the best match ever, the problem is that, in general, you're asking for a 30 to 40-minute tag team match. Why 40? Because if you want to include the actual entrances,
right,
which were not cut or shortened at all, because house show, you ended up having a tag team match, not even just a tag team match being a main event, just people that weren't going to completely tear the house down. Because if you told me, we're going to have a tag team match. Oh, really? Yeah, Cesaro's going to be there. You know Cesaro, right? Oh, yeah, Neville's going to be there if Neville wasn't there earlier. Yeah, you know Neville too, right? Yeah, Cesaro and Neville. And, you're aware of you're aware of the Young Bucks, right? Just like, I'm sorry? Yeah, we got them to come around. They were here. They were just doing some stuff. Like, something small like that, because, like, let's say they're trying to bring them in and this is their way of, like, just testing them out because they were in Japan anyway. It's like, that's just going to happen. But whatever. I mean, you don't want that, right?
No.
Something very... No, right? Nah, I'm not a big fan. Something small like that, or it's just like, hey, so... we need to get a tag team legendary tag team in here. Sadly, the Dudley Boys couldn't do it because of the injury with Rowan. Who could we get next? Matt and Jeff are just on the phone.
Immediately. Hoping.
Sorry, we can't take you two. Actually, we're very sorry. We only called because he would like to talk to you. Kurt Angle's on the phone. Hey, guys, how's it going? So, I was thinking about, he's on both cell phones. He has them both to his ear. Just both to his, he's like, hey, so, I was talking to the Hardys.
It's just an echoed, powerful Kurt Angle. I can still cut really good promos. We
can't hear you. What's that music in the background? That's my entrance music. You just hear it in the background.
Can you imagine Kurt Angle's last entrance theme in WWE with an echo? The original part repeats itself like 4 times. I'd be so confused. It
You
would throw off my sense of reality.
No, but seriously, I don't know. Like, it's just one of those things where if they had a match in between, a buffer, I don't think it would have been as bad. But it was pretty silly to just go from that to, like, normally at pay-per-views, different environment, and that's why we say this. Normally at pay-per-views, we have no problem saying, hey, so, you know, we can have a title match after a title match. But this was just, again, house show. That's of course, again, therein lies the problem with promoting or having huge title changes and not having them be either in the main event or around somewhat in a way, you know, or the main event being, let's say, a WWE Championship thing. Like, I assume in the future, like at the Garden, we will get a WWE title match there, but it won't be that huge, hopefully. Like, it'll be huge, but it won't be, you know, like, it might just be something where, like, Seth Rollins gets to fight Randy Orton for the title.
Right.
And they don't have to do that much of a build. They can just say, you know, they can even just have a little promo. You know, I've fought him so many times. This is a stupid decision. You know, last time I fought him, you know, he couldn't do anything. He couldn't even RKO me. Randy's like, you're right. Last time I couldn't RKO's him.
And there it is. The RKO.
Little things like that can happen, right? But the idea is because there was no main event title match, still not saying it should have been NXT. Only because of that one hang-up.
I get it. I understand what you're saying. I disagree. But it's one of those.
However, Primetime Players versus New Day. Sad to see that be a dark match. The women fighting over the Divas title. Sad that could not have been the main. You know, it was that. That's the thing. Like one of those two matches, or just cutting your losses, having John fight someone one-on-one for the U.S. title. I think that's the only way I really would have. I said this earlier, but I still really focus on that. That's the only way this really would have worked to me. If John fought someone for the U.S. title, and it's like, see, he's in the main event, but it's a house show. But no, they had it be that standard tag team. You know, let's save them. Let's have them be fresh because this isn't. This is just a live event. But as we mentioned before, they promoted it as Beast in the East. So moving forward, right, because we are here, but still, I want to mention. So I think all of us ask this question, right? A lot of us ask, a lot of questions, I think. And finally, we got one of those really, very hard-hitting questions answered. Ziggler has joined the Bullet Club. I don't know if you noticed it. I don't know if you sat there and noticed what I noticed. But when I saw Dolph Ziggler came out, I was like, not only has Dolph Ziggler joined the Bullet Club, I wouldn't be surprised if he just took the mic and was like, screw this company, screw everything about it, screw everyone. I'm part of the Bullet Club, baby.
I always think it's funny because in my head, it's just a really, old version knockoff of the Karate Kid because of the headband. The headband just always makes me think original Karate Kid, so I just kind of laugh.
I wouldn't be surprised I would not be surprised if Dolph...
That's the actual reference?
Yeah. No, because it's Dolph. I would not be surprised if he does that and then he puts on the gloves. Just puts on, and you're like, wait, Karate Kid gloves?
Soon? I will lose my mind.
No, not Karate Kid stuff. Just he puts on gloves, and it's like, wait, are those? And he's just like, I'm here to break you. Like, just immediately, like, Dolph Lundgren. Oh, God, he's Dolph. You know what's really funny, I think, before we, get into the match itself, before we wrap everything up, I want to mention, I can't think of Dolph Ziggler anywhere else, only because I can't think of what his name would be anywhere else. Because usually, right, in my opinion, think about it, right? Like, think about it, though. Think about it. Justin Gabriel, right, leaves TJ Black. That's like, you know what I mean? Like, names that are like, I don't say more creative, but names that are different to me and names that work.
Okay.
The fuck do you go from Dolph Ziggler? Like, Dolph Ziggler is the name that we'd see that he gets in the Indies. And we're like, they're going to fucking change it. Damn it, it's Nem Nicketh. I fucking knew they were going to change it.
Yeah, they could go with Nemnikith.
Now he's Nemnikith in WWE.
The Nemeth back. I'm with him.
Yeah. So it's just like, now it's like, it's just weird. Like, it's just, and Nick Nemeth, it's like, I don't see it. You know, like, I'm sure he's going to have to come up with something different, but it's just, you know. Like,
I think you should go with Nick Nemeth, honestly, just fuck with everybody.
Just Nick Nemeth, the Nemeth Kid. Full-on Karate Kid. Full-on.
My God.
No, but
no, so what was it? What do we got? We got John
Ziggler,
and Dolph.
Ziggler, Cena, Barrett, Kane.
Yep.
All of this just was the same. No, it was one of those things where, again, I don't think it killed it. I don't think it should have been killed. I just think that the idea, when you look at this, right, it's just, if it happened in general, it's not an issue. It's just the fact that it was so long, and we had a hot tag for Ziggler, and then we had enough time to cool down and then have a hot tag for Cena. And I know it's like, usually we'd say, great, they gave them enough time. But these were people that have had so much time that it didn't feel necessary. I know, again, house show. But usually, like I just said before, hey, house show means people get more time and they look cool. Cena and Ziggler, I would argue Cena gets time. Ziggler does not, so I'm happy Ziggler looked good. Barrett does not either, so I have to admit, I'm happy Barrett looked good. But it's just, you know, I just think that if we were able to extend the women's match, then this would have been serviceable. But the fact that it was like, I sat there at 6:30 in the morning at this point. No, almost near 7 o'clock in the morning at this point. And I was like, what's coming up next? Because I had no idea that certain matches were cut or brought to, you know, dark match status. So I'm like, what's next? Tag team match? This is the main event. And during the match, I just decided, you know what? I think it's time for bed. And I fell asleep. I only saw it tonight before the show because I rewatched the entire event.
It was like 20-something minutes? Was it closer to 30?
It was closer to 30 I'm pretty sure it was closer to 30 when you add in entrances. It was weird. You know, it was weird to me. And I know, again, I'm going to, you know, put it on a shirt, house show. But it was a lot. You know, it was a lot of a house show. A bit too much for my taste. And I'm a man who loves house shows.
Yeah, I think that was the sharp reality to me. The idea of, like, right, yeah. This is a glorified house show, and John Cena is still the face that runs the place. Like, it was actually kind of disappointing, that moment.
I know, and I had to tell you straight up.
It still had to happen.
Yeah, I had to tell you it like 80 times. So I knew you knew. I just had to keep on telling you. Just house show, house show, house show.
Yeah, no, and I needed that kind of, and that was really, and watching the event, like and it was funny because when you told it to me, I was upset because you told me John main evented, and I was like, wow. And then I actually watched it, and it was so jarring for me to actually. Yes, it's not like John main evented in a singles match. John's tag match main evented, but the idea of like, wow, that.
Yeah. Also, to be fair, while you look at, let's say, Sami Zayn and Neville, which I mentioned I saw at the Garden, for the NXT title, they didn't put on what I would consider, like match of the year either, right? And they were also earlier in the card. Mind you, I didn't know it was coming at all, which I think is also a good thing, too, about a house show in a weird way. I'm a little sad that they did announce the matches because I know they want people to watch, but because it's like, it sucks because now that you do have to involve cameras and stuff, you have to make people feel like, and because WWE is a publicly traded company, you have to make people feel like their investment in having cameras there is worth it. So it's kind of like you have to make people watch or you have to tell them who's going to be on the card. But I would argue that in the future, when we do events like these, I won't even look at the card. And I suggest you don't either. And we do it completely as if we were really at a house show. Like, I know some things are going to be hyped anyway, but I feel like, when I go to a house show and I'm like, man, I wonder what's going to happen. And you hear this match is for the NXT title. Personally, I freak the fuck out. Mm-hmm. That's just me. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So that's how I felt. I freaked the fuck out when I heard that it was for the NXT title. live. So I feel like a little bit of that also, comes with it. It makes you feel happy. But again, they were earlier in the card. They didn't put on a 5-star match, and it felt okay. This, well, I don't consider it a 5-star match. Still fucking amazing match regardless. And it also, you sat there and you're like, not only is this an amazing match, now it's near the end of the card. Like, I understand people not wanting to put it too early because they did promote it, but I really would have put it earlier, to be honest, if it wasn't going to main event. I would rather have something else buffer.
The NXT title match?
Yes. Like, I would rather NXT title match.
That had to be the main event, so putting it before the main event really freaking hurt.
Yeah, I would rather NXT title match and then Brock. Because Brock was so short.
Yeah, no, that could have worked, honestly.
Yeah.
But it didn't.
But
they didn't do that.
It did not. No. So what did you think about the match before we, head off? What did you think about the match?
Like, it wasn't bad per se. It didn't fail. It just sucked because of what it had to follow.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel the same. So, we're on the same page, sadly.
No, really. It sucks that we are, but that's really it. It wasn't bad. It was cool to see them get some time to do the thing. Barrett looked better than he has in a while just because they haven't really cared for him. But that's that.
And,
it happened.
And I really hope that they don't change a lot in the future. I hope that, maybe one title change per live event. I think it would maybe make things go a little
live
crazy
event
and
referring to these like glorified house show type things you're saying, right? Because that's what you're using live event for. Okay, just clarify.
Oh God, have they used live event? I forgot. Live event is network event is the new name, not live event.
Special event, I think. I don't even know.
I thought it's a network event.
Sounds like a freaking video game term.
No. They call them network events. I'm 95% sure. I usually call them pay-per-views, but now they have network events. Technically, everything is network event, but the specific network events that I consider are quote network events are things like Elimination Chamber.
And this was network exclusive.
Yes, this was network exclusive. Network, which was the live event. Because hey, they had WWE live on the side, which again, I like that. I don't want it to. I don't want them to fucking have like the Japanese flag and put Beast in the East.
But they did.
Like, they didn't. They had WWE live.
But on that note,
yeah.
Do we depart?
Yes, we are departing. I swear.
Go for it. Finish your thoughts.
All right. Before we wrap everything up, I want to say that I would like to apologize from before. I really want to push that. Very sorry about what I said before.
He really didn't mean it.
I really want to make that clear before we head off. I'm just very, very sorry about that.
Yeah.
And now that we've wrapped everything up, I would like to thank you all for listening to those guys. Before we go, as always, for any of you new listeners, before we go, as always, we always talk about some of the older stuff that we've done. Not going to be able to list all of it for you tonight, but man, have we done a lot. Animation, video games, live action television, movies, and more. You can find these podcasts on our main website, which is thoseguysontheradio.tumblr.com. We have all of our podcasts archived there. We also have ourselves a Facebook where we can keep you updated on some of our new shows coming out, which is /ThoseGuysOnTheRadio. We also have our Twitter, which is @ThoseGuysRadio. We have our Instagram, which is /ThoseGuysOnTheRadio. And you can find us on iTunes by searching up Those Guys Radio or Those Guys on the Radio. You can also find our YouTube page where we are constantly updating it with new videos of our podcasts, not us live podcasting via video, just a picture and a podcast. If that is how you take your media, please check out our YouTube channel, which has been posted on our Facebook page, Twitter, as well as our main website. Now, one more. Of course, Blog Talk Radio. Well, two more, but Blog Talk Radio. Because, hey, here we are. We're live whenever we update you. That's what I consider. Whenever. Which, of course, again, Those Guys on the Radio. And we also have ourselves our Bandcamp account, which is TGOTR.bandcamp.com. We do not post a lot of our podcasts there because we believe it's a podcast for free, minus some of our, what I would consider, special events, right? Where we will definitely have either special events in terms of older WWE pay-per-views. Currently, we have WWE SummerSlam 2005 on there. Unforgiven is coming up soon. And we also are going to be putting up some riff tracks on there as well. If any of you are unfamiliar with the term riff tracks, they are essentially, people doing commentary on an actual full-length, either film or full-length episode. And remember that the idea is to sync them up with the episode of the DVD that you have or the movie that you have. And, so we will be having riff tracks coming soon as well. Again, TGOTR.bandcamp.com. They are paid. You do pay for them. However, they start off with the low price of $1, and you can pay more if you want to. Definitely support us. Try and help us out because, hey, if you're fans, then, help us. We need money. I think we're good. No, I think that's how any corporations talk. Help us. We need money.
Right. Before we wrap up, I just want to say I did the math, Matt, and you are our 200th caller.
Me?
And I just want you to know that
I
appreciate you speaking on behalf of our producer, our director, the owner of those guys, myself, and the two people who do the regular weekly Monday Night Raw podcast, and our factory Matt.
Oh my God, the producer always manages to get one by me. Oh my God, it's amazing. The director too, always one step ahead of me.
It's because he has an enormous penis.
I don't want to end it on that.
End it now. End it now. I'm hanging up. I swear.
I was so mad. They're gonna be like, end it on his enormous. No. Well, that's where we are.
Did, but I'm like, is that overkill? And then the other voice in my head was, it is, because it's enormous. And I'm like, stop the jokes, I'm bored.
WWE. We're not at the German bratwurst one yet. We're not at that event yet. I don't think.
Speaking of bratwurst, am I right? But anyway, I'm leaving. I'm sorry.
Goodbye, everyone.
Good night.
Please support us in every way that you can. Very happy that you've listened in. That enough is support. Please, share our likes, share our podcast, like us, all this stuff. Thank you so much for listening to those guys. Good night, everyone, and say good night, Satish.
Good night, Satish.